Morning, everyone. I'll wait till I get some people on here. I wanted to explain how I want to start the live training videos. Firstly, my name's Megan. I know a lot of you guys through horses and friends and family. I started riding when I was young, and then I wanted to train. It was a big thing of mine of just training horses. Doing yearlings are my favorite thing in the entire world. Yearlings, babies, all kinds of groundwork. I wish that there was more things like this when I kind of started out with yearlings and trying to train my own horses. I wish there was more people who wanted to do videos and just post them so that people would understand how to do it, because learning on my own was hard. I had a lot of guidance from some big trainers who helped me get where I am, but I would have liked to have somebody who would post a video without having to pay for it to kind of explain the basics of showmanship, in-hand trail, any type of groundwork that's going to go straight to the saddle. A big thing with horses are everything you do on the ground is going to transfer to underneath the saddle. Teach them cues, teach them how to do certain things on the ground that when you get on, you're not having to rewind in your training. You just get to go forward. A big part of these videos are going to be teaching horses, especially babies. You got to start from scratch. You got to start them before anybody gets their hands on them. And that's the biggest thing with babies is you get to start something from scratch and watch their progress with how you've learned how to train. And I think that's the biggest thing, and people get discouraged when they're training babies because babies get anxious, they get scared, they get, a little too overwhelmed, and they'll start to freak out. They'll rear, they'll spike at the chain when you first put it on. They're gonna fight you. They're gonna be mad when you first start training them. And the biggest thing with babies is patience. That was the hardest thing for me to learn, because I would go from something like Mulan, where I put the 6 years of training into her. I go from her and I go train a baby, and I would be like, oh, they need to be, right where she's at. But then I'd have to remind myself that no, babies only can learn within a 15-minute span. And within that 15 minutes, you want to make sure that everything you're teaching them, one, is good, and two, that you get your point across, so when you end that session, they are happy and they understand what you're doing. Also, when it comes to training babies, everything is repetition. Everything you do, you need to do it the same way each time. You need to make sure that if you teach them a cue, that's the cue you do every single time you want to work on that obstacle or that piece of the puzzle. So with the videos I want to start doing, I want to start where I think, when I start at the beginning of my babies, where I think everyone should start, which is leading next to you, like showmanship. You want your shoulder to their ear, you want them to lead next to you without going too far behind, being in front of you, walking on top of you, personal space, also trotting next to you. And then you want to also teach your babies how to respect a lot of your personal boundaries. And that's the hardest part, I think, is because when they're babies, all we want to do is love on them, give them a lot of attention, which is fine. Imprinting is the biggest thing you want to do with your babies, especially if you get a baby that has been out with mama for the last 6 months, hasn't really been messed with or touched. The biggest thing is imprinting. But during your imprinting process, you don't want to make it so overwhelming that that baby just now becomes like a tick and wants to stay on your body and not give you personal space. You have to have an in-between. I also want to start out with the first video is going to be our leading, our trotting, setting up. Setting up, I got a lot of people who want to learn how to do that. It's hard because When you go to set up a horse, you have to do it the same way each time. When you go to set those feet, you're gonna set them with your hands first. And then as you work on those little things, I was always taught when you teach a horse to set up, every time you stop, you wanna tell them whoa, and then you wanna set their feet. So that they learn every single time you stop, or even if you're not wanting to practice showmanship, before you go in a stall, set their feet. If you're in the stall, set their feet. It's just a way to teach them how to do it. Also, as the videos progress, I want to teach you guys how to do haunch turns. I don't use whips. I don't use harsh training methods. I like to use a rope halter and my hands. It helps horses understand things a lot better. I feel like when you add more training things, like excess things that are not hands, you start to make that baby get overwhelmed. So I like to just use my hands when it comes to a lot of it, like haunch turns, side passes, backing. That's a big one. I know a lot of people, especially babies, they don't like backing. Backing is a hard one. It's an unnatural movement. If you research anything, backing is unnatural. It's not something that they do. So getting a baby to back up is the hardest thing. I like to start with that also first. Get the hard stuff out of the way so that when we start working on the easier things like going over obstacles, it makes it smoother. I also want to go over how to train you guys how to do in-hand trail. Start horses on poles, start horses on going over bridges, scary obstacles, sacking out. A lot of these things, the best part about it is that when you get that horse under saddle, they're gonna understand your cues, and you're not gonna have to go back and be like, okay, well, how do I get this horse to side pass, or how do I get him to back? Well, you've already given him that cue on the ground. The good thing is too, is I will have Mulan in some of the videos, because Mulan is going to be like your finished product. It's been a little while since she's worked on a lot of it. That showmanship video I posted the other day was almost 3 years of a break from showmanship. I've barely worked on it. But I drilled showmanship as a baby, because there's nothing else you can do with a baby except for showmanship and in-hand trail. So that was something I just drilled into her. So I'd like to use her so you guys can see what a finished product look like. And then I do have some people at the barn who are going to let me use their yearlings that come from different aspects of life. One of the yearlings that I'll be using, she was out in a pasture with her mom for 6 months. She was one that wasn't messed with, and then she had to learn how to be halter broke and leading and everything last fall. So she is definitely going to be one that'll probably be a little more challenging, but who knows, maybe the one that's been messed with a lot more will be challenging just as much. Babies are babies. They change every day. That's the one thing about babies, is people get, overwhelmed with how much babies change. They like to pay attention one day, and then the next day their brain is gone, and you just pretty much try to find one thing you can work on that you're gonna have a good, solid lesson with. And also, when I've watched some of these live videos that people have done, I want to make it to where you guys can ask me questions during the live video. I will try to answer them if I can read them. But definitely ask questions, and then the next day I'll do a live video in the morning, and I can go over some of the things I worked on. I can also, the next video, if there's something that somebody didn't quite understand, I can do it again. I can do it with Mulan, who knows a lot more, or if you guys want to see it done on the baby so you guys can understand what I kind of was asking. I'm going to try to speak as loud as I can on these videos out at the barn. I don't have a microphone, so it's going to be just like it is right here on the phone. I'm hoping that I can try to talk loud enough and you guys can hear me when I'm out at the barn. It's going to be harder now that the weather's changing. The barn is going to be a little bit louder. There's also other people at the barn, so if it tends to be an issue. I will try to work on something so you guys can hear me. But I want to make sure that everybody who's at home and training your own babies can have the opportunity to learn from it. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying you guys have to take everything I say to heart. Take one thing from my videos if you can. That's how I was always taught. You know, you go to a clinic, you might not like everything that trainer says, but take one good thing from it that you can use at home. I know I'm not really training anymore. I don't really plan on it. I want to try to teach people what I've learned to help you guys at home, especially your amateurs or your youth like I was when I first started out with my yearlings. I was still in high school with my first APHA yearling that I went to World Show with. I did all of it on my own with guidance from a trainer that lived next to me. And that was maybe a lesson once a month, because I wanted to be a trainer, so I wanted to learn on my own. It was fun. I just wish there was more of this. So I want to give you guys like the insight that I've had with my yearlings, the challenges that I've gone through with the yearlings when it's come to getting them ready for like a world show or even just a regular show in general. I mean, yearlings and weanlings are the hardest thing, I'd say, when it comes to teaching them new things like going to a show or understanding how to relax in a show ring. And the best thing for that is going to be getting those horses out, hauling them, taking them to new places, showing them that, you know, it's okay to be here. It's not going to be scary. You can do it. And also a big thing with these yearlings is you have to overpraise them. You can't just do like you do with your big horses and give them a pat on the neck and tell them, oh, you were good. Great ride. When you do something and they understand it, you need to give them the biggest praise in the world. I mean, it needs to be over dramatic. You know, you did awesome on this element. Let's do it again. And a lot of the training sessions with the babies that I'll do are only going to be about maybe 15 minutes. You don't want to push them, because by the time you get over that 15 minutes and you've pushed them a lot longer, they end up getting so overwhelmed that they shut down, and then you're not moving forward. You're taking steps back, and that's going to be the hardest part with a lot of you guys at home when you're teaching your babies. You're going to get to a point in your training where that baby's going to get upset. It's bound to happen. Any baby, they're going to get upset. And you two are going to probably go rounds, and you're going to be mad, and you're going to, you know, not be able to calm yourself down. And what I recommend with that is you find a sweet spot to stop. You find something that you've worked on for that last 15, 30 minutes that you know that baby's going to do really well. End on a good note. And then go back, put them away, come back a few hours later and try it again. That's going to be something that you'll see in these videos too when I'm working with the babies that I have not had my hands on, but maybe once or twice. And it's going to be, oh, you're a new person. I'm either going to test you. I'm not going to listen. I'm going to, you know, do what I want to do. And that'll be a big thing when I'm trying to teach them like backing or giving the pressure to put their head down. Those two are the big, like, I don't want to do it and I'm going to fight you. And putting a chain on for the first time, that we're going to go over that, because there is, I think the one baby has not had a chain on. So that'll be something that you guys can see. It just depends on the baby. Mulan, when I first put a chain on her, she was bad. I mean, really bad. When I first put a chain on Mulan and she heard the sound go through her halter, she freaked out that first time. And then when I put the pressure on the chain a little bit, she reared up. And it's just what horses do. They will find a way to fight you, but that's why I use a rope halter as well. I was taught that from a great trainer, is you put a rope halter on with a regular halter, you put the chain on, and you teach them to give to pressure with a You can teach them to give to the pressure of the rope halter, and then you use the chain at the same time, but just barely, which I'm going to go over so you guys can understand it and see it. But that's kind of what I want to teach you guys, is just little things on how to teach these babies at home, especially for people who want to do it on their own and spend time doing it on their own. You guys can ask me any questions, and you guys can make suggestions for videos if you guys want to see them. I want to try to do it about once a week if I can, so maybe I'll do them on Thursday nights if that works for you guys. If you want to give me some insight on that, I am more than happy to listen and see what you guys want, but I want to try to do it on a Thursday so that on Friday mornings I can read through all of the questions that maybe I didn't get to on the video that I was having, and then I can go on that day after and I can explain kind of what I was talking about. It might be easier to do another live with the horse, but I want to be able to answer questions the next day. I hope that these will help you guys. That's why I'm doing it. I had a couple people ask me about charging money for these, and I don't want to do that. I want you guys to learn and understand how to train babies properly and how to work with your babies at home and not have to spend an arm and a leg to get something done that maybe you want help with. I am always free in Facebook Messenger. If you guys have questions on anything, I'm here to help. And when it comes to babies or even riding horses, I'm not going to do a lot with riding just because I really like the babies. I like doing all the groundwork. Also, Mulan is, she's not in shape to do riding videos, so I'm going to try to just do mostly groundwork, and I want to teach you guys what I've learned. So if you guys want, you're more than welcome to, after I get done with this video, comment on it and ask me questions, suggest maybe what you guys want to see in that first video next week. I kind of gave you a little brief introduction to what I want to do at the beginning of this video. Is just basic showmanship stuff, leading, trotting next to you, and setting up. That's what I want to do the first video. I want to make it simple and easy so that you guys can see kind of how the videos are going to run, also so I can see if you guys are going to be able to hear me. But thank you guys for watching. I really hope that these videos can help and you guys are interested in them. And have a great day. Don't be afraid to message me or even comment on this post about what you guys want to watch. See you guys.